This is Stamatis Kourkoulos-Arditis, a Greek chess grandmaster, a title which you have to dedicate your life to for years to achieve. And this is Magnus Carlsen, world blitz and rapid champion and greatest chess player of all time, and ultimate troll, because when Stamatis sits down in the Title Tuesday event, 20th of February, late edition, the greatest weekly chess tournament in the world, online, and plays pawn b3, Magnus Carlsen plays literally the worst move in response, pawn g5, opening the door for this bishop to scythe down the diagonal, hit his rook undefended, and then Magnus doesn't go knight f6, the computer approved move in this opening trash variation. He goes pawn f6. Watch the computer evaluation bar reacting. It's almost 3 pawns better for white already on move 2. That's like giving 3 pawns or even giving a minor piece. That is how much of an advantage Magnus is giving. He's humiliating these guys. So e3 now played, preparing to checkmate in 1. So Magnus goes knight h6 to cover the check like this if it's played. And it's at this point I'm watching the game. I'm doing the predictions with Chess Profit, a brand new game on chess.com. You can play it each week. You make predictions before the games start. You pick 3 of the top boards. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? Who's going to draw? And you rack up points. There's a leaderboard. You win prizes. Weekly, monthly, annual. Completely free to play. There's a link in below if you are interested. And I'm looking at it going, okay, there is no chance he's turning this one around. It's absolute opening trash. So what does white do? Will not check actually with the queen. It is the top move, but for some reason the bishop develops here instead. So Magnus carries on developing with bishop g7. Now we get the check with that one and king f8. How horrendous is this position? How many pieces on dark squares? The light squares, Swiss cheese here. Awful, and h4. White starts taking this tin opener to the black position. So Magnus advances the pawn. He's desperate to keep this rook out of joining the attack. And now you don't actually have to win that pawn. You can carry on developing. You suspect that's what Magnus would have done. But here Stamatis does pick up the free pawn, which is being given. He gives up his bishop pair, but he helps Magnus get rid of that terrible knight. And Magnus has got the bishops and develops with some tempo here. And watch how this thing turns around, because there's a series of micro inaccuracies from the white player. You know, the queen going to e2, not as good. These were the more active squares. Magnus takes more central space, developing one of the knights, now the best move to play. But h5 played. Yes, it's got a threat, but it helps Magnus improve the bishop. Again, develop the knights, but no, d3, a bit of a meek pawn move. Magnus develops his knight, knight d2, a more passive square, rook g8, and this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Instead of defending the pawn, white should just develop castle queenside. If Magnus takes, fine, you're opening the g file to your own unprotected king, at least not protected very well, but g3 is played, and look at the evaluation. Magnus is now better with the black pieces after that opening garbage. How does he do it? So a5 now played. a3, a4, pawn recaptures, rook takes, sitting on the head of this pawn, blockading it. This knight now develops, but bishop g4. Magnus's pieces streaming into the game. That's a nasty pin. White now plays pawn to c4. Magnus advances with d4 here, and now, to Stamatis' credit, he finds a great sequence here. Because if you capture this central pawn, you open Magnus's bishop. There's already pins here. The knight could hop to d4 one day, especially if queen b6 first, pressuring this bishop. The rook's active if you defend, and there's pins. Big attacking game. So the pawn not touched in the centre. Rook h4 played instead. preparing to sacrifice the exchange, and Magnus should take here as drawn. But he goes knight e5. Not accurate, because now this move can be played. Rook takes on g4, exchange sack. Excellent move. Magnus recaptures and his whole centre collapses, activating the white pieces here as we, whoops, misfire, as we can see, and the knight as well. So pawn takes back played, knight takes on d4, but here's the kicker. Look at the clock times. Magnus over 2 minutes, Stamatis down to about 25 seconds. Now there's a massive fork threatened, forking king and queen. So the queen comes to a5, pressuring here. The knight now pinned. So castle's queenside played, unpinning like this, but there's a new pin like this. What a monster this has turned into. Now Magnus to move, what does he play? Well, he wants something active, right? Wants to get to the king. You guessed it, he sacrifices the exchange back with rook takes on a3. Now it wasn't taken, although it was playable. Magnus can take with check, and okay, the white king's not getting killed. You can keep checking, but how do you intensify the pressure? It's gonna take some time to bring these ones, into the attack. This is about the only one properly in the attack right now. So that was playable for white, different game, but not taken. Instead, knight e6 check. Magnus steps up with the king, and now this is a big blunder here. Top move is to retreat from where you just came from, basically to help with the defensive effort. But queen e4 played, centralizing, hitting 2 pawns at once, and the game is busted. One of the top moves is an immediate rook c3 check, and then the other rook can join, that kind of thing. But Magnus goes f5, blocking out the queen from down here. This pawn is laterally supported by the black queen, so white takes this pawn here, but now Magnus crashing through. Many good moves. Knight takes on f2, a strong one, but Magnus takes here with the rook, and look at the pressure on this knight. You can't save it. It needs defending another time, but the queen can't get back and help. The bishop can't, not without being taken. What to do? Knight c7 played, trying to open the queen maybe or something, who knows, but Magnus simply takes here. Rook recaptures, queen takes. Sorry, I did that a bit fast. The king in check, it sidesteps. Magnus checking some more, hoovering up a few pawns, all with check. King b1, rook d8, and we see resignation from Magnus's opponent. Why? Well, you're threatening to mate in 3. The queen is blocking everything in terms of escape squares. So how do you block? Well, you can cover the square like this, but now you're hanging a knight. You can even go e6. Just defend this. Now you're simply an entire rook ahead, let's not forget. So you can just slow play the attack, right? All different ways to win the game. It's just game over here. So this, the final position. Magnus Carlsen just humiliating his opponents. Look at this opening, rubbish. This, the position after 5 moves. How the hell does he do this stuff? I hope you enjoyed. Smash subscribe if you did. Check out Chess Profit next Tuesday if you want to play along. And for another incredible game by Magnus Carlsen, check out the video on screen. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon.